evaluate, which comes in handy. And then we'll talk about graphing, how to set some things up, and then the copy and paste, which will definitely speed up trying to enter functions. All right, I'm sorry for this being a little blurry on the calculator. I had to blow it up a little bit so y'all can see it. But anyway, here we go. First thing you may want to do before you take the exam is clean your calculator up. If you notice on F6 here, which is second F1, there's a thing called clear A to Z. Hit enter and then hit enter again. And what that does, it clears out all your variables. So if there's anything lingering on from all your schoolwork during the year, that's gone. You can clear this home screen as well. Hit F1 and then number 8. And now you kind of start with a fresh slate here. All right, let's differentiate. This is under F3. First option, D, differentiate. So we're going to type it in, hit enter. Let's put a function in. Let's put in 3x squared. The syntax goes like this. It's the function, comma, x, end parentheses. Hit enter. And it shows you in kind of pretty form, d over dx is 3 minus x squared, or 3x squared, and the derivative is 6x. If you need to find the second derivative inside the parentheses, we hit comma 2. Okay, so you can see the second derivative of 3x squared is, of course, 6. Now, if you need to evaluate a derivative or second derivative at a point, all you have to do is, let's go ahead and highlight this guy right here. All right, so we're going to find the derivative. If you want to evaluate it at a point, we hit this bar right here next to 7. And we say x equals, we'll put 4 in. So that should be what? 6 times 4, we should get 24. And there you go. Sometimes you may get pretty print, and you may want actual numbers. I always green diamond everything before I hit enter. That way it makes sure it gives you the correct, right up to the numbers. Okay. All right, that's how you find second derivative. That's how you find a derivative at a point. The next thing we're going to talk about is integrating. If you hit F3, you can see number 2 is integrate. If you ever need to get to something, you don't want to have to hit the arrows, you can just hit the number 2 as well. So if I'm here and I just hit the number 2, it's going to set up the integral. All right, you can see the little integral sign, and the syntax goes like this. Let's put in 2x squared, all right, and the syntax goes like this. It's the function, comma, x, and you can just close the parentheses and hit enter. Now what's nice about the 89 is it will give it to you in symbolic form, so you can just type it in, and there we go. We know it's 2x cubed over 3. And if we need to evaluate it between some bounds, syntax goes function, comma, x, comma, and it's lower bound, upper bound. Okay, so function, x, lower bound, upper bound. And you can see here. Now this is what I was talking about, how sometimes it gives it to you in pretty print like fractions and stuff. But if you ever need the decimal, all you have to do is hit green diamond and then hit enter again, and it will give you the actual decimal of it. Okay, I mean, you could have put in 128 divided by 3 and it gives you the answer. So again, at 128 divided by 3, if I hit that, watch what it does. It just repeats it. 120 over 3. But if you need the decimal, just hit green diamond. Okay, so that's integrating. All right, let's use a solver. Solver comes in handy. So let's go to F2 for algebra, and you can see solve there. All right, and the syntax goes like this. You simply put in the equation. So let's put in x squared plus 5x plus 6, and you type it in, equals 0. So just put your entire equation in, and then you put in comma x in parentheses. That's basically telling the calculator it's in terms of x. Hit enter. Well, we know it's a quadratic, so it has 2 solutions, and there you go. There's your 2 solutions, -2 and -3. Okay, so a solver works very nice. So again, the syntax is just the entire equation, including the equal sign, whatever it equals to, comma x. And if I want to, change it, instead of 0, I could do 1. And it gives it to you in, nice form. Again, if I hit green diamond, it'll give you the decimal equivalent. Okay, here's the pretty print, and then here's the decimals. Okay, so that's the solver. All right, define a function and evaluate. Many times you're going to be given a crazy function in the AP exam, and you don't want to have to retype that in and several times, especially if you need to evaluate it at a couple points. So what I like, it's under F4 Other, and I hit Define, and it allows you to define a function. So I'm going to hit alpha. We'll do f of x equals, and we'll do 2x to the 6 minus 3x minus 5. Enter. And all it will say is done. But what you've done is you've defined f of x to be that. Now, if you ever need to find some values, plug in numbers into that, all you have to do now is just do we'll do f of 2. And there you go. And you can change it to, let's see, you had decimals. Sometimes that's really hard. So f of 2.5 gives you 475. Okay, so that's the define function. I love that. All right, let's do some graphing. If I go to Green Diamond F1, you can see here's where the program holds all the functions here. So let's put in a function here. Let's put in x, and let's put in another function. Let's put in 2x cubed. All right, enter. And what I'd like to do is let's do F2. I just want to plot it. So I'm going to do a standard window. So 6. There's my line. And there you go. The problem is we need to kind of sometimes zoom in because there may be something going on here, but because it's so far out, the pixels kind of get messed up. So I'm going to hit F2 and go down to zoom in, and it'll ask you for the new center, and then hit enter. And what it'll do, it'll kind of give you, there we can see there's some gaps there. And I can hit zoom in again. So zoom in, center, and that way you can kind of really see what's going on. There's those little gaps in here. All right, and then again, if I wanted to zoom out, center, enter. All right, notice we have intersections. You may have to find the area between two curves, and of course we have to find the intersection here. Well, the calculator does find the intersection, so we're going to go to F5 for math. And if you look, it's got intersection here. So I'm going to hit number 5. And what it asks you to choose is choose the two curves. So in this case, I'm going to choose the first curve. Just hit enter. You can, if I hit the arrow, look what it's on. It's on the line. Okay, so it's asking me to select that function. So I hit enter. Then it jumps to the other one, which is the curve. I just hit enter. Now it's asking for a lower bound. So I'm going to just put my cursor a little left of this point and hit enter. And then I'm going to move my cursor to the right of it somewhere. Hit enter. And there you go. There's your x and y value right here. But sometimes you're going to need that x value. And that way you would know how to integrate from 0 to there. Now remember this because, see, that's a variable. xc is that. So if I go back home and maybe I need to integrate between 0 and that value. Well, instead of having to type in that value, watch what happens. If I just type in xc, there's that number. So instead of typing in 0.707107 in an integral or whatever, I can literally just put in xc. Okay, so that's nice to know. So that's how to find the intersection of two graphs. Okay, so which is solving, by the way. Okay, all right. Let's find maxes and mins. Let's go back to the graphing window. And sometimes you may want to turn off some things. So I can go up to this one and I hit F4. That will see the check marks, right? F4 is check mark. That turns it off. So if I go back over here and hit graph, okay. Now what I'd like to do is find the maxes and mins. Well, this one doesn't have one, so let's go over here and let's make one that does. So I'm gonna hit enter, and then let's see here, minus x. Let's see what that does. All right, so graph. So now I've got some maxes and mins happening here. All right, so let's find the max right here. All right, if you go to F5, there's a function here called maximum. So we're just going to highlight it. And I'm just going to kind of go lower. So I'm going to go a little left of it, enter, go a little right of it, enter. And there you go, the maximum value it occurs at negative 0.4. And what is the y? What is the value? This is the y value. Okay, and same thing for minimum. I can go up here and hit minimum. And again, I'm going to go a little left, a little right, and there we go. Okay, so that's finding maxes and mins. And then finding zeros is pretty easy. We know it's at 0, 0, but let's just do it. We'll go F5 and we'll get 0 here. See, there's a function here called 0. So I want to find a lower bound, so I'm just going to go a little left of that point, a little right, and we should get 0, 0. Bam, 0, 0. Okay, so that's finding zeros. Sometimes you may want to change your window. You need to see maybe there's a word problem and it gives you a domain. Here's a function on the interval 0 to 100. So you can go in here in the window, and sometimes you have to kind of tweak here some things here. So we'll go 0 to 10, do a scale of 10 to, and we'll do maybe negative 2 and positive 2. Okay, and then just hit graph, and it gives you just that part. Okay, now if I need to zoom in there a little bit more, I can maybe change my window again. Maybe my X max, instead of 10, I'll just do 2. Okay, and scale 1. So it gives me a little bit more value. Now maybe I want this to dip down more, so I'll change the window, the Y min, to be negative 0.5. Okay, hit graph. And now you can see more of the window. Okay, so that's basically changing your window and all that kind of stuff for the graph. And then copy and paste. Sometimes this is handy. Let's see, I need this function. I need to differentiate it. Well, I can highlight it, hit F1, and I can hit 5 for copy. Then go back home, and if I need to just paste that in, I would go F1, 6, and there you go, paste it in. Okay, that comes in very handy to do things as well. All right, so there's some basic ideas of how to use a TI-89. If you have any other questions, shoot me an email. Anyway, good luck.